Hello guys, this is Srinivas and welcome to the video. Today we are discussing the top industries for data professionals, and before that we'll discuss why domain knowledge is important for data professionals and software engineers in general. So our first reason is context is king. When you know the nuts and bolts of an industry, it not only makes your data statistically sound but contextually relevant. Okay, so you have data points and then there are actionable insights, and context as a bridge between both of these. The second reason is iterative improvements, meaning you have already built some systems, some models that provide solution, but as you iteratively make improvements by gaining domain knowledge over a longer period of time, you build an effective solution that is going to serve to your end users. The third reason is effective communication. What does it mean? You draw all the insights, actionable insights, you build visualizations, but those can be used in different forms. Either you will have to report them to the senior management of your company or the organization, or you'll have to present them before the stakeholders, or you'll have to share the insights to the end users and the customers. There are n number of things that you could do, and most probably all these 3 to 4 people that we have talked about won't understand your technical language. Okay, so we have to speak the language as data professionals of theirs, so that the message or the value that we are trying to convey to them or deliver to them is actually understood by them. So learning the language of the other people, which could be stakeholders and user and so on, that is going to make you an effective communicator. So let's talk about the industries now. The fifth industry is retail and e-commerce. Retail and e-commerce is simply the purchase of goods either through online mode or offline mode. This marker, this whiteboard was purchased by me by visiting an offline store which is called a retail store. On the contrary, the mobile holder and the ring lights I have beside me were ordered through an e-commerce platform. I didn't visit any specific store physically, but I ordered them using e-commerce platform like Flipkart and Amazon to be precise. So how does data analytics come into play in retail and e-commerce? The first is customer segmentation and targeting. They analyze customers' behavior, their purchase patterns, their behavior patterns, and they segment them into different categories. And by doing that, they could run marketing campaigns or sales strategies and build effective businesses around that. And the second reason could be to increase business via price optimization. No matter the industry you are working in, there is always some competitor who is trying to get ahead of you, and so are you. So it is important that you price accordingly such that you don't compromise on your profits, you don't compromise on your operations. At the same time, your customer gets products and services on a fairly reasonable price as compared to your competitor. That is how data analytics will be used in these two segments in retail and e-commerce industry. So now let's talk about the fourth industry, which is manufacturing. Manufacturing is all about the production of goods. This marker, this whiteboard, the ring lights and the mobile stand that I currently have were all manufactured in a factory. Okay, not a single factory, obviously the different ones, but they were produced using different processes. Now what they could be? It could be research, designing, assembly, and the most important is the distribution of these goods. Okay, so when a product is finished, it is distributed either to retail stores or the godowns for e-commerce, and that is where supply chain comes in. The products are supplied to retail stores or anywhere to a certain destination via the source. That is the entire supply chain, and optimizing that is very crucial. Okay, so suppose there are multiple ways to deliver a product from source to destination. It could be railways, roadways, airways, seaways, and a lot more. People are also talking about drone delivery, but I don't know how sustainable and feasible is that, but let's just keep that apart. Suppose I'm delivering these ring lights to a retail store and I'm the manufacturer. I will probably use roadways for now, and using that I'll require a certain number of trucks, better routes such that they don't damage my goods. I'll also have to use fuel in very effective manner. I'll also have to ensure that no carbon emission is done in excess. So these are all things that could be solved using data analytics, specifically in supply chain and distribution. And the other segment could be quality control and assurance. Maybe there is a certain batch of these ring lights which was not manufactured well, and it might have been distributed to the different retail stores and e-commerce platforms, and that would leave a bad impression about my brand or my company before the users. So what I could do is I could always analyze data on a consistent basis and find out what are the most common defects and during which seasons, or why were they actually taking place. Okay, so if you could do that in advance, you could always say and follow the anecdote that we have always heard, prevention is better than cure. So it would always help you thrive in your business. And the third industry now we are talking about is entertainment. When I was a little kid, I was very stubborn and I would ask my parents to take me to circus, and that was my definition of entertainment and fun. But as time has passed, the definition of entertainment has drastically changed to content creation, which is something I am doing, and content consumption, which is something you are doing. Okay, so how does data analytics come into play? First is analyzing audiences' behavior and activity patterns. Suppose you are watching my videos on LinkedIn. You might also watch the data analytics or computer science related videos on YouTube. You might also watch videos related to food, regarding fitness, regarding fashion, and so on, and there are multiple videos that you would watch. So what the social media platforms would do is constantly analyze every minute thing that you do on their platforms. For how much duration are you watching the videos? Are you watching YouTube long videos or lengthy podcasts or YouTube shorts? Whether you are spending time creating content on Instagram or simply doom scrolling the reels. And that is how they analyze, and this is just a very high level overview of the analysis that these content creation or content platforms do. But on top of this analysis, the recommendation systems are built, which in turn will recommend you the most likely watched piece of content that you'd prefer. Okay, so that is how data analytics is used in entertainment industry. The second industry is healthcare. God forbid nothing happens to you and you stay healthy, wealthy and fine. But let's say you are diagnosed with diabetes and you don't know about it. Obviously, you are going to find some uncertainties in your health and you would consult to the doctor, and they would ask for certain number of things or certain questions. Now all this data that they record will be stored in electronic format, which is also called as e-health or electronic health records. So this is the data that is used in the predictive analysis of certain diseases and certain health related issues and concerns. In diabetes, there are pretty common symptoms like you have fatigue, you have increased thirst, there is unexpected weight loss, your vision gets blurry, and there are n number of symptoms that you might face. And how doctors will use this data as doctors, obviously they won't perform data analytics themselves, but there are certain systems built which will tell if there are these symptoms observed in you, chances are you might have diabetes. And by analyzing data of so many patients, they could develop drugs and personalized medications for you, and that could also be done using data analytics. So that is how data analytics plays a role in healthcare. Right now we have taken the example of only diabetes, but there are n number of diseases that are observed in the world. One such was COVID. To build the vaccines for the COVID, we can't even imagine how many parameters were considered to build the actual vaccine. So hats off to all the doctors and the health experts who could build that vaccine and give us a beautiful life. And the last domain, or the first domain that ranks on top of the list, is finance. So finance is a domain that could always revolve around the currencies, the economies, your spending habit and money in general. I use a neo banking application called Money, and this is not marketing about the product, but whenever I make a transaction, it gives me a feature to categorize a certain transaction into specific categories. It could be grocery, stationery, food, party, personal spendings, wants and so on. And at the end of every month they give me visualizations that analyze my spending habits. How cool is that? If I see that I'm spending a lot of money on stationery and food, maybe I should spend some money on my healthcare as well, because consuming junk food constantly will always end up me being into a hospital. Okay, so this is a very casual example, but you could always analyze where your spendings can go wrong. And if I'm spending certain amount on a monthly basis, that could also be considered as my entire salary. And based on that entire salary, if I spend approximately 5,000 rupees in 1 month, it could suggest me, if you're spending 5,000 rupees on a monthly basis, you could save 10% or 20% of that and invest it into some meaningful modes. It could be mutual funds, stocks, foreign exchange markets, or golds, corporate bonds and so on. And all of this that I've talked about until now was possible due to heavy data analytics that was performed consistently. And this type of data could be called time series data. The parameters do stay the same, but it is just a matter of time that it changes constantly. Okay, so this is how data analytics used in finance industry, and it could also be used to predict certain frauds, certain financial scandals that happen. So you have to be very mindful. Suppose I'm an investor, a new investor which doesn't know anything about industry. I might think certain company is growing really fast and I should invest in them, and the chances are it might be a fraud company, and that will result me in a heavy loss. Okay, so since I'm a naive, I can't take better decisions, but data analytics can help me identify certain patterns, draw hidden insights and tell me, okay, so if you think this is the company you should invest in, we won't suggest that because it seems like a scandal or a fraud company. On the contrary, we would suggest you these companies who actually have a proven track record of certain growth over a long period of time. And that is how data analytics helps us make data driven decisions in the financial world. If you guys have liked this video, do let me know. If you have any feedbacks, do reach out to me and I'll surely work upon it, and I'll see you in the next one.